Outcast like an understudy. Put the bullshit in the past, make the future sunny. New to nothing, Deuteronomy knew what was coming. I'm not a prophecy, I'm up to something, keeping some secrets, I'm meeting people.
Hiya, I'm Matthew. I go by Flay, and I run a brand called Flay Apparel in Belfast. We just set up our first shop at Christmas there, and it was a really fun experience getting to know the community of streetwear lovers here more. I never was interested in clothes. Like growing up, all I did was follow the trends. I wanted to fit in. I wore a Jack Wills gilet, I wore chinos, I wore Carbrini, I wore everything under the sun in order to fit in. And then when I went to uni, I discovered that everyone there was seemingly individual. I would meet people who, if they were at my school, would have been made fun of, yet when I was speaking to them, I thought they were the coolest people I'd ever met. One of the main transitions about going to uni over in Manchester was I discovered wide-legged pants. Over here in Northern Ireland, my whole life, everybody wore skinny jeans. We were skinny jean people. And then when I went over there and saw these guys wearing big camouflage pants and like big baggy jeans, it changed everything. It changed my whole perspective on fashion. So ultimately, it was really seeing all the creative art students in Manchester that inspired me to sort of experiment with my own taste in fashion. And the first thing I ever did was paint Bart Simpson onto some black jeans. I saw like a vaporwave meme video and I copied it onto some jeans. I did my first drop in, I think, January 2019. I dropped 25 original one-of-one painted items onto a big cartel site. I got some of my friends, like local musicians, to come, like Leo Miyagi and Tulu, who's a local photographer, and Niall, a local actor. I got them to come through and model some of my clothes, and I rented out a photo studio for 60 quid for 2 hours, and that's how the whole journey began. Was that moment I posted that first photo of like the models standing in all the outfits. And ever since then, it's really just been a huge progression of that one experiment. My most recent experiment being to put out 40 items all at once and them not be one of one, but them all be made to order. So I've hugely progressed in that regard, whereas before I would create, market, and then sell one product. I'm now create, marketing, and selling multiple versions of all the same product, because that's how the fashion business seems to go. I didn't realise that what I was doing at the start of my experimentation was like really difficult. I was trying to market and sell pieces that had never been seen before, and there was no history on them, you know what I mean? Whereas now, if you see the Eternity Wear hoodie being modelled by Moya Mawini, you might think, whoa, she's popular, I'm gonna buy it, because then I'll be cool. One of the first big triggers that helped the brand develop onwards was doing some pop-up shops at American Madness in Belfast. John Joe, the owner, just was really, really kind and like offered. He saw the first drop that I did and offered to let me do another pop-up. And so I ran with the same sort of scheme, and I got loads of Instagram friends from Belfast, people that are trying to be artists, to come and model the clothes. And then it was a really good day where Lewis Patton came through, the photographer, and we shot loads of great model shots. And it was such that maybe 8 or 9 people are all sharing their photos of them wearing my clothes that day all around Belfast, and it really helps get the marketing out there, just moments like that. So when the lockdown hit, I was in the middle of doing a massive film project at uni, and it just completely cut off this like huge workflow I was in. I was in a huge state of workflow doing this beekeeper film, and then it all just cut off dead, and I had to come back to Northern Ireland, and that's sort of when I began focusing on Flay again. I sort of was going to stop it for a long while. I was not enjoying it. But then when the lockdown hit, I started to do it again, and it's progressed like so much since then. What was kind of an experiment and a hobby is now turning into a job. And I decided at Christmas time, because I'd spent the previous 6 months in isolation, I decided at Christmas that I wanted to set up a pop-up shop. So I spent about a month redesigning and redecorating the pop-up shop, and then in December 12th it was ready to be opened, and I opened for my first ever pop-up sale day. The shop ran smoothly for 2 weeks. I was posting loads of online content of people coming through. There were so many bright colours, and I was making new clothes every day. It was like the first time where I'd felt like this business was a business. It felt viable. It felt as though I could make new items of clothing. Like, I could draw designs out of my mind and then sell them the next day. And it wasn't even based upon like my historic merit. It was based upon the actual products themselves. People were coming in not knowing who I am, not knowing anything I've done in the past, and they were just buying the clothes because they liked the clothes, and possibly the space. Having the space really, really helps, because I am now currently making the clothes here in my bedroom, but nobody's walking into my bedroom and buying them because of the space, because of the limitations of the space. So part of this game of this running this brand is just figuring shit out that you didn't even know was a problem. There's so much of it. There's so much to figure out, and you don't even know that you need to figure it out till you figured it out. So at the shop, I was making new designs every night and selling them the next day, and I was ultimately very happy about that. But I was getting a bit anxious about the fact that so many new pieces that were quite clearly desired by customers weren't getting documented, they weren't getting photographed, and they weren't getting advertised, and I was only selling one of them. And this goes back to that whole sort of the beginning of my Flay journey, where I made one-of-one pieces and I hand painted them all crazy. It's sort of like, it works to sell the individual product, but it's almost not worth my time. So what I figured out to do for this new drop was I looked through all the stuff that I sold at the shop, all those designs that I only made one version of and then sold, and I made a big list of like what I would believe to be possibly my best designs, and then I had about 20-30 things there. So I was like, right, February's coming up, I'm Flay, those are 2 F's, what's a third one? 40. I'm going to do 40 items in February. So I had to design like 10 or 15 new items, and then here we are. I have my Flay's top 40 for February. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of this drop, even just genuinely in terms of the aesthetic of the designs and of this final image that is all of the clothes laying on a white background together. I just feel if you compared even that photo to like my Flay 3 drop from Easter of 2019, you'd see how much better the clothes are now. The clothes are so much better, and it's all down to me home experimenting with this screen printing thing. I've figured out my own way to screen print. It's like I invented it. There's no tutorials anywhere. There's nothing. I came up with it all by myself. I'm Matthew, I go by Flay, and I run a brand called Flay Apparel in Belfast.
And I shouldn't put your name in my music, I didn't get permission to use it. Got my eyes on who shit is nervous, and my talent just a delusion. Who am I to say? Who else gonna